Hello and welcome to the R.A. Kalfas Construction Buckeyes post-game show. The Roadman, Kenny Roda, here with you, and we are at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I was here for an Ohio State-Michigan watch party, and we had a blast. Former Buckeyes Nate Harris and Kenny Peterson were here. Former Wolverines Sean Crable, who's on Cloud 9, was here, and we talked to those guys at halftime, had our chalk talk, broke down the first half. Michigan led 14-13 at the half, and then Michigan came out in the second half, and like they did in the first half, let's be honest, let's call it what it is, they opened up a can of whoop-ass on the Buckeyes today and dominated this game from basically the beginning to the end in the trenches. This was all about the trenches. O-line and D-line play determined the game today, and Michigan was by far the better team. Let's put up the numbers for you, the ugly final numbers if you're a Buckeye fan, the beautiful numbers if you're a Michigan Wolverines fan. You snap an 8-game losing streak in convincing fashion, 42-27, the final score. Michigan gets the win. They improved to 11-1. They advance to the Big Ten championship game where they'll play either Iowa or Wisconsin. And if they can beat either one of those teams, they will represent the Big Ten in the college football playoff, in my opinion. Just knocked off number 2. They were number 5. They should be in the top 4 come, Tuesday night, I think it is. Yeah, Tuesday night. We'll find out where they're at. But hats off to Jim Harbaugh. Not a fan, but got to give him credit. Was 0-5 against the Buckeyes, but he had his team ready to play. You could just see they were the hungrier team, in my opinion. They wanted it more, and they went out and just dominated the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes defense could not stop Michigan's running game. 200, let me put some numbers up here. Hassan Haskins, the running back, how about having a day? 169 yards, 5 touchdowns, and as a team, Michigan just 3 yards shy of 300 yards rushing in this game. And on a cold weather day like this in Ann Arbor, the key is the running game. And the Buckeyes could not get it going. The offensive line could not run block. Under pressure all day was C.J. Stroud. And when he's under pressure, he tends to struggle. Now, the Buckeyes, surprisingly, didn't turn the ball over. But what they did do is get in the red zone, and we saw this from earlier in the year, and I took a lot of heat questioning Ryan Day's play calling in that in games against Penn State and Nebraska when they went 2 for 9 in the red zone. You got to score touchdowns in the red zone, especially in a game like this, and the Buckeyes settled for 2 field goals in the red zone. Okay, you scored 2 touchdowns, add 8 more points to the 27, it's 42-35, then you can try and tie it up with a late touchdown, but the Buckeyes unable to do so and unable to control Michigan on the ground. And give Michigan credit too. They threw the ball well. Yes, there was the 1 interception, and that I thought might have been the turning point in the game for the Buckeyes, or could have been the turning point in the game for the Buckeyes, but it was not, as the Buckeyes were unable to score a touchdown on that drive. So instead of tying it at 7-7, it was only 7-3. Ohio State did take a 10-7 lead at one point, but then Michigan responded just like that, right down the field, hot knife through butter, 14-10. Buckeyes had a chance again late in the first half to take the lead into halftime, 17-14, and get the ball back to start the second half. And the Buckeyes had to settle for that other field goal. So instead of having the momentum going into the locker room at halftime, Michigan held you out of the end zone again. Michigan still had the lead, 14-13. And what does Michigan do to start the second half? Michigan stops the Buckeyes 3 and out, and then goes right down the field and takes a 21-13 lead and played from ahead the rest of the way, made it 28-13 as they outscored the Buckeyes 14-0 in the third quarter and just dominated the game from there. Aiden Hutchinson, hey, you can see why he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. 3 more sacks, at least that's what I had him for. 3 more sacks today, becomes Michigan's all-time sack leader. Ojabo or Ajabo, however you pronounce his name, he had a sack and was an effective piece in that defense. Their secondary, even though, and let's put up some individual numbers for Ohio State, even though Stroud threw for 394, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, you could see he was not comfortable in the game at all. And even though Olave and Njigba and Garrett Wilson put up some big numbers, they didn't have the big play. And I think that was part of the defensive scheme for Michigan. Don't give up the big play. Keep everything in front of them. If they have to use 13, 14 plays, 10 plays to score a touchdown, that's fine. That's what we want to do. We want them to chew up the clock like we're going to chew up the clock if you're Michigan and shorten the game, and that's advantage Michigan. And that's what they made the Buckeyes do. They didn't give up the big play over the top. Everything in front of them. The Buckeyes really couldn't run the ball, and C.J. Stroud was running for his low health. He doesn't run, and that was a big missing element in this game for the Ohio State Buckeyes. In years past, they've had quarterbacks that gave Michigan fits because they could throw it and run with it. And today, C.J. Stroud, he tried to run one time, scored a touchdown, but it got called back for holding. He needed to. This is a game where you can't worry if your shoulder's bothering you, okay? You can't worry about taking a hit on that shoulder. You've got to take the opportunity when it presented itself as a quarterback with all the pressure that was coming. You got to run the football in certain situations. And the Buckeyes and C.J. Stroud failed to do it. Ryan Day was out-coached by Jim Harbaugh. I didn't think I'd say that after today's game. The Buckeyes' offense was outplayed by Michigan's offense. I didn't think I'd say that today. I might have said Michigan's defense outplays Ohio State's defense because that's the strength of their team. And the combination of running the football, Hutchinson, 5 touchdowns, and controlling the line of scrimmage on O and on defense, not even close. Not even close. Let's see what we have here as far as comments from people tuning in here on the R.A. Kalfas Construction Buckeyes postgame show. Quentin Singleton, Michigan's defense controlled the line. Quentin, already talked about it. You said what I saw, right? I mean, everybody saw that. We were here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the watch party, and everybody here, and Sean Crable, God bless you, man. We were giving them crap before the game started about the Buckeyes have won 17 of the last 19, 8 in a row, going to make it 9 in a row, 18 of 20. And as a Michigan guy who played 5 years there, got hurt his freshman year, played 4 after that, was a captain of Michigan, only won 1 game during his tenure there. He was taking a lot of crap, but then he was loving life, walking up and down the entire party room, hooping it up and loving the fact that Michigan kicked the crap out of Ohio State today, 42-27, and it was the defense controlled the line of scrimmage and the offense controlled the line of scrimmage. What else do we have here? Janie Wrestler Dotson. They kicked our butts. Janie, bingo. Nothing else needs to be said, right, Janie? They did. They kicked Ohio State's butt today all over the field. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Ryan Day's first loss as the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten comes at the outhouse in Ann Arbor against the Michigan Wolverines. So, yes, I couldn't say it any better. Let's see here. George Errett, Ohio State just could not stop Haskins. Yeah, we're thinking back to Dwayne Haskins when Michigan couldn't stop Dwayne Haskins. Well, today, Hassan Haskins, the Buckeyes could not stop him, plain and simple. And the pressure on Stroud, you could see he was uncomfortable, missing passes early. And I mentioned this to Kenny Peterson, who was here, who was a national champion with the Buckeyes in 2002. And I told him, I said, what worries me is Ojabo and Hutchinson. If they put pressure on Stroud, he's not comfortable in the pocket with pressure at his feet, and you know he's not going to run, and that worried me, and that was indeed a factor today. Let's see here from Quentin Singleton. Ohio State's defense has been a question mark. Defense has been a question mark all year. I agree, and I was worried about that coming in against that offensive line. I picked the Buckeyes to win 31-21, but this is the most concerned I was about a Michigan team in a long time because of their defense, and they average over 200 yards a game rushing, and they could shrink the game, and that's what they did. Adam Cerny, why was Ryan Day running the ball down 2 scores? Because he was afraid of the pressure from the defensive line. He was worried about, I guess, getting sacked, maybe getting a strip sack and a fumble. The O-line today, they got, if you're the Ohio State offensive line today, any one of those 5 or 6, whoever played, you're hanging your heads, man, because you got your butts whooped. You got destroyed by that defensive line from Michigan. So there you go with some early comments. All right, let's bring in our buddy Josh Paloha from Waiting for Next Year. And Josh, boy, that was ugly today. That was a good old butt whooping by the Wolverines, handing it to Ohio State 42-27 today. You see it any other way than I did?
No, I mean I just tuned in for like the last 3 minutes, but Michigan did trust the ball today, which is run the ball, control the clock, dominate the line of scrimmage, and they perfected it. I mean, they scored. I saw a stat. It was 14-13.5, and Michigan scored a touchdown on all 4 second-half possessions.
Did they up to that last point? Wow. That's
I guess up to the last one. But, I mean, I think – I'm not going to say for the long run this is a good loss, but I think Ryan Day, this is the first time he's lost. This is the first time Ohio State's lost in just like 10 years and 2 days. I think this offseason will be very interesting for how Ryan Day approaches his defensive coaching staff.
Physically, they were mauled. The defensive line was mauled by that offensive line. So if you're a team in the Big Ten now and you're trying to figure out a way to beat Ohio State, yeah, speed kills. I get that. But so does strength and aggressiveness and physicality. And the Buckeyes were out physical in every way, shape, or form. The press coverage on the receivers at times, the pressure on the quarterback, the offensive line just mauling Ohio State's defense. The D-line is like they didn't even show up today. The running game was like a hot knife through butter. I mean, that was – so if you're out there and you're thinking, all right, yeah, they got the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receivers. How can we beat Ohio State? Well, guess what? If you out-physical them, because it's more finesse, it looks like, than strength for Ohio State. If I'm other teams in the Big Ten, Michigan State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, I'm looking at this game as a blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of the Waiting for Next Year guys in our Discord channel said, watch for Michigan to take the Oregon playbook and beat Ohio State the same way Oregon did. And I mean, they like you said, they out-physical them. They control the line of scrimmage. It's just crazy that Ohio State beat Michigan State last week like they did, and the Spartans beat Michigan. But even if Michigan's 0-11 going into the game, it's the game. It's a completely different. Look at the final few seconds. This was Michigan's Super Bowl. Yes, they'll probably go to the playoff now, but this was Michigan's Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Josh, maybe the blowout win was the worst thing that could have happened last week because the heads swell. Hey, we just kicked the crap out of Michigan State, who beat Michigan. We're going to go up there, make it 9 in a row, 18 of 20. Michigan, they're going to have their heads down by the end of the first quarter, no problem. Just the opposite. Michigan seemed more hungry. They seemed more confident. And they seemed like they felt they were the number 2 team in the country and not the number 5 team in the country today.
And they obviously might be the number 2 team in the country now. But I guess we finally, as Ohio State fans, we finally got a taste of a dominant defensive end. Ohio State hasn't gone against that in a long time. We got a taste of the Joey Bosa. Yeah, exactly. We got a taste of how opposing offenses felt with Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa and Chase Young. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, the eye black thing, I mean, that can go, but he is damn good.
He's going to go top 5. Yes. All-time sack leader at Michigan, and played arguably his greatest game at the most opportune time to help Jim Harbaugh get the Harbaughs right, get off the schneid. Now 1-5 against Ohio State, and they snapped an 8-game losing streak to them. And so maybe not playing last year. You had 2 years to prepare for this one game, and give them credit. Their game plan was executed perfectly, with the exception of the one interception in the first half. And the Buckeyes, again, and Josh, I said it after the loss to Oregon, they're going to lose at least 1, maybe 2 more games this year because of the defense. Then I started to buy in as it looked like the defense got better. Guess what? Defense didn't get better, okay? They gave up 35 points in a loss at home to Oregon, and now 42 points in a loss on the road at Michigan. You can't do that even with this offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how you knew that they were going to run the ball no matter who was in that running back. I mean, they beat you. It was literally trust the ball. Run, play action for a deep ball. hopefully get it complete, go back to the run. I mean, when you get dominated, like we both said already, when you get dominated on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and then you add in the fact that you're a running team,
right?
You're going to win 99% of the time. I mean, it's losing to Michigan sucks. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But then again, it was bound to happen eventually. It's been since 2000.
For me,
Yes.
Josh, here's the way I look at this. If this were a close game and Ohio State was the better team and they lost on a fumble or an interception or a late touchdown, whatever, I'd be upset. I'm not upset. Well, yeah, I'm a little surprised that they were mauled today, that they were manhandled today, but that makes it easier to accept when the better football team won. There's no doubt in my mind, if this was played even in Columbus, I think Michigan wins it because can't stop the running game. You said 4 for 4 in the second half to start the second half on offensive possessions. So to me, wherever this game would have been played after watching this unfold, right? Wherever this is played, the line play, Buckeyes lose 8 times out of 10 if they play this wherever with these two teams this year.
Yeah. And I mean, we always talk about the big picture. Ohio State's out of the playoff now.
Yep.
It will be interesting. I mean, I'm not saying the Rose Bowl doesn't – no, they won't even make the Rose Bowl because the team that loses in the Big Ten championship game will probably make the Rose Bowl.
I don't care.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Doesn't matter
where
they play.
Yeah, exactly. The bowl game, I'm not really – it'll just – I know I said this when I came on here. This offseason is a big one for Ryan Day. It's the first time that he's ever dealt with – because, I mean, last year they lost to Alabama National Championship, but it was kind of expected. This year he not only lost to Michigan for the first time in 10 years, but the defense needs fixed.
Yes.
If you're going to win a championship, Big Ten or national championship, the defense needs fixed. I mean, it's as simple as that. You can't be giving up. I mean, it's one thing to like go against a really good quarterback and him just like dominate you and like no matter where he throws the ball, it's right on target and there's nothing the cornerback can do. But when you get dominated on the ground like you did today, especially with the weather, right when I saw the snow, I was like, "Oh man, this favors Michigan." They're running their hands,
didn't it?
Yeah. So I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the weather. Although I'm not a blame refs guy, but man, those refs—they look like NFL refs out there too. But I'm not going to blame the refs either.
I thought they were. Hey, it's not the refs' fault for 6 false starts, pre-snap penalties.
We discussed that too. What's one reason Ohio State will lose? Self-inflicted penalties.
Right.
And it seemed like every false start or every hold was like a first down. Well, I guess not every false start, but every hold was like a first down.
Yep.
Even that C.J. Stroud finally runs the ball, gets a touchdown, comes back holding.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just you can't have.
They didn't
in
have
an environment like that.
They didn't have the self-inflicted turnovers, but they had the self-inflicted penalties and other stupid mistakes, calling for a fair catch and then fumbling and having to run and start deep in your own territory. They just made – and Ryan Day's play calling too, 3 straight runs to start the second half. Okay, first and goal from the 5, I'm running it 3 straight times. To start the second half, where you need to score to take the momentum back and take the lead back, and you've got those wideouts, you know, what adjustments were made, done, in my opinion, in the locker room. And so he got out-coached by Harbaugh, and maybe, how about this? Maybe not so much Harbaugh, the new coaches they brought in and took the play calling away from Harbaugh, right? And so all that factors into this. So from the coaches on down, the Buckeyes got outplayed today. Let's get some of these comments in here. John Connor, let's throw John out here. This really sucks. Once Superior Ohio State gets the season ruined by the piss and the blue. Thanks, Ryan ruined my day. Shake my damn head.
I guess ever since the Cavs won the 2016 championship, I have a different mindset when it comes to sports. Like I already got my Ohio State championship. I already got my Cleveland championship. I'm just like usually I would be really angry right now, but I'm just like, shit happens, I guess.
It did a lot today, man.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. It's one of those things where like your parents tell you, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Right. I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Okay. All right. I've got 12th winning. Thanks to Mr. Steve Hunter. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea.
That's a spam. That has to be spam.
You think that's a spam thing?
Yeah.
Here?
I don't know how they would get that. I don't know. I've never seen spam on Facebook like that.
That's new to me. Nope, I'm not putting you back up there, Jar. That's
How to win $30,000?
something about Bitcoin. Something about Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me go.
Hey, that'll make our days better. Winning $30,000 in like 15 seconds. Boom.
Yeah.
We're all happy again.
How about this? Very, very depressed. Buckeyes were outplayed and outcoached. That team up north did nothing special. However, they executed perfectly and were much more physical. David Richardson. Agree, David. 100%. Todd Bartley, what's the story with Julian Fleming? Have no idea. No. Did he play? I didn't notice him.
I don't think many receivers played outside of the top three, to be honest.
Okay. Jim Cater says, Weed Eater Bowl, here we come. Craig Easterday says, Buckeyes just weren't very good, especially on defense. Play calling questionable. We might have lost the game when we deferred the coin toss. Why not put your best unit on the field first? Interesting perspective, yeah. Go up 7-0 instead of not playing from behind. You give them the opportunity to take all the momentum. But they did come back and eventually take the lead 10-7, right?
Yeah.
Buckeyes led 10-7, but then Michigan went right down the field and scored to make it 14-10. So
it's one of those things where, like, 99% of the time you defer, but I think Craig does have a point if you put your best unit on the field. And if you go down and score, that shuts up the crowd immediately.
Right. Shout out to Jay Smith checking out the show along with Craig Easterday, Chuck Molberg. Bill Barron is also watching. Come on, Jim Cater says, bring back John Cooper. Come on now. It's not that bad. This is Ryan Day's first ever loss to Michigan and his first ever Big Ten loss. So I'm not going there, but some changes need to be looked at for Ohio State with the defensive side of the coaching staff and his play calling.
Yeah, it's the first time. I mean, when was the last offseason where we were like, all right, some change, and not like they need to be changed, like they must be changed. I mean, this is like I said, a lot is on Ryan Day's plate this offseason. I know we're already talking about the offseason, even though they still have one game left. But a lot will be on his plate, and this is the first time he's dealt with real adversity.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout outs to, let's see, Pam Corzin Zingardi watching us on the R.A. Kelfus Construction Buckeyes postgame show. Daniel Krause says Ryan Day was a clown today. Daniel is watching. No adjustments, Kenny. None whatsoever. Gil Prokop is watching. Danny Reimer is checking us out, probably from his bar basement at his home where he's crafting some other kind of beer.
Yeah, in his bar basement, he probably said something about go Kentucky. Come on.
No, he did not. He just said he's watching. One here from, I'm not too upset. Sometimes a good ass kicking is good for the soul. We'll be back, and that's from Jax Teller. And
Jax, I completely agree with you.
I don't disagree from that standpoint either. I'm going to give you these numbers on the bottom. Haskins, 28 rushes, 169, 5 touchdowns. 5. As a team, they ran for 297 and 6 touchdowns. 300 yards on those
rushes. I didn't know it was that much. I thought it was like 250.
I thought it was 350. I thought it was more than 297. I thought they were well over 300 with the way they dominated.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that defensive line has been suspect all season. I feel like Zach Harrison was a bit overrated. He was supposed to be like the next first-round pick. JT and Jack Sawyer, true freshmen, you can't really count on. I mean, you can count on them in a big game, but if you need to count on them, that's a problem. But, yeah, I mean, the defensive line, not the defensive line that Ohio State's used to.
What did you have before the game? I had it reluctantly. I said on my drive-in, riding with the Roadman, I said 24-21 late in the fourth. Buckeyes score late to, clinch it 31-21. But I said this is the most concerned I've been with a Michigan team because of all the youth the Buckeyes had and going up against those two sack masters because that's what bothered C.J. Stroud all season. So I had the Buckeyes winning, but I wasn't confident in my prediction. What did you have?
I reluctantly 45-28.
Okay.
I didn't think the offense would
score right. Wrong team. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't think I knew Ohio State's defense would have a problem, but I figured, like we've said all season, where the offense has just been so good that they'll outscore whatever the defense gives up. I didn't think Ohio State's offense would have such a big problem today. It was, I mean, I don't know. It was some drives they were there, some drives they just weren't there. It was.
Think
It was
about
weird.
it, Josh. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They almost had as many field goals as touchdowns in the game, and you can't kick field goals.
Yeah, and what do they end up in the red zone? I know they started off, well, not 0 for 3, but touchdown-wise, their first 3 trips to the red zone were 6 points. I mean, you can't, just like the Browns, you can't only kick field goals in the when, especially in a big game against a top 5 opponent. If your third down defense struggles, like the Browns do, Ohio State's third down defense, I don't know the final stat, they were bad today. If you can't get off the field, that's bad, especially against a running team. And third down defense and red zone offense are 2 things that you must succeed in if you're going to be a top team in the country, and they struggled at both those today.
Yeah. We got Jax Teller says you brought up a good point, Roadman. Harbaugh had 2 years to prepare. Yeah. And obviously, they took it a little bit more seriously. They implemented that Ohio State drill, and it worked, man.
Finally.
Yeah, it worked. Think about it. It's a run drill that they put together and called it the Ohio State drill. Well, they ran all over us and stopped the run. So that drill, for him, it works. Now, back to the drawing board for Ryan Day and the Buckeyes. You're on the other side of a butt whooping, right? And so you got some humble pie. Maybe thought you were better than you were because of the way you manhandled Michigan State and went up and got your butts handed to you by the Michigan Wolverines. So I give them, like I said, all the credit in the world. They were the better team today. They went out and they took it from the Buckeyes.
Yes.
Right? This wasn't given to them. The Buckeyes didn't turn the ball over 3 times, right? They did have some self-inflicted wounds with the penalties, but Michigan State took the game to Ohio State, and the Buckeyes did not respond.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was more about adjustments or there's only so many adjustments you can make when you get dominated on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I mean, yeah, we could blame Ryan Day's play calling at times, which was bad today. But when you get dominated on both sides of the ball, I mean, or not both sides of the line. I mean, there's only so much you can do as an adjustment. I just figured Ohio State's offense would not have a problem today scoring touchdowns, and they did. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know. I guess it's just
in my opinion.
I don't know.
Playoff chance is gone. Heisman Trophy chance is gone too, because even though he didn't throw a pick and he threw for almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, you got to win this game. You got to have that Heisman moment. And it was setting up like, okay, you're down 14-13 at the half. Buckeyes take that opening drive of the second half, boom, right down the field and take the lead 20-14. And Stroud's picking them apart after they made the adjustments. And it's like, okay, he's got a shot to have those Heisman moments and rally his team for a win in the second half. Didn't come close to doing that. And so I don't know who's going to win that. Could he win it by default?
Bryce Young. Bryce Young's going to be the overwhelming favorite from Alabama. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with odds. He'll probably go to like minus 400, which means you have to bet $400 to win 100. He'll be the overwhelming favorite by a long shot.
What are they done?
They're playing. They started at 3:30.
Amy's watching us now. Hi, Amy Johansson.
She was at this party that I was at making fun.
Oh yeah. So she wanted to see Pookie on the postgame show. That's what you Pookie in the postgame. That's what you call it, man. That's for next year. That's all you. Run with that, dude.
And like usual, we're waiting for next year, huh? Gotta get that in too. Boom.
Nice little plug there for the website. Waiting for next year. WFNY.com. All right, Josh. Final thoughts as we wrap this post game up. A loss by the Buckeyes to Michigan for the first time in 10 years.
First off, I get tweet updates from 11 Warriors. 42 points is the most points Ohio State has given up to Michigan since 1946. So in case Ryan Day needs a reminder as to why they need a new coaching staff, just put that on the bulletin board in the head coach office.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. But final thought, losing Michigan sucks. Well, losing a game as an Ohio State fan, you want to go undefeated, let's be honest. Losing the game stinks. Losing Michigan sucks. Michigan fans will be very hard to bear at Mark Hinkle for the next 364 days.
Right.
But they deserve it. I think I'm more annoyed about the next 364 days than I am about today's loss, to be honest. Because it's bound to happen.
I gave Hinkle the chance to go quadruple or nothing with the money that he owes me, and I didn't get a response.
All right, are we back?
From him. He obviously, whatever he says, he didn't believe enough to reach out to me and say, all right, yeah, that $150 or $200 that I owe you, Roadman. Yeah, let's go quadruple or nothing on that, or double or nothing again. He didn't feel confident enough to make that happen, that wager happen. But he will get to enjoy, the victory. Here's what I'll say: they better not go out next week and lay an egg in the Big Ten championship game after beating Ohio State. It won't mean as much if they don't win next week and represent the Big Ten in the championship.
No, I hope Michigan gets dominated in the Big Ten championship. That's my thinking. Screw them.
Yeah. Well,
or lay an egg, get to the playoff and lay an egg.
Yeah, but what if they go in and they beat Ohio State and Cincinnati? They beat both Ohio teams this year.
Yeah, I'm a huge Cincinnati. I hope Cincinnati wins the whole amount. Do you know how awesome that'd be?
So we'll see.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't be as so awesome.
All right, Josh, go back to your.
My final thoughts are just it sucks, but it happens. First time I'll take going 9-1 against Michigan every 10 to 11 years.
Okay.
The year's gonna stink that when they lose, but hey, if they win 9 out of 10 times, I'll take it.
Well, the good thing for the Buckeyes is you're losing Olave and Wilson, but you're going to have
a lot back.
Smith and Jigba back at wide receiver, Harrison back at wide receiver. I think Fleming will be back. Ibuka will be back. Jaden Ballard. So you're loaded at the wide receiver position.
And you have more wide receivers coming in too.
Yeah, Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams, both back at running back, right? Offensive line, they gotta do better next year on the O-line. And the most important aspect, I don't know who they have coming in, but they got to beef up on the defensive line. They got to find that next pass rusher, from the Bosa boys and Chase Young. And there's been a major drop-off. Now, it's tough to replace first-round draft picks, potential first overall picks, in the draft like that. But if you want to be dominant, you want to be like Alabama and win multiple championships, you got to keep bringing those types of guys in. And they didn't have one of those guys on the roster this year. Hopefully the experience for Sawyer and JTT will help them next year moving forward. All right, Josh. Enjoy the rest of your night.
I'm getting calls. That's why I got booted a few minutes ago. So enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
And go Bucks always.
Go Bucks. All right, there he is. Josh Palaha from Waiting for Next Year checking in with us on the R.A. Kalfas Construction postgame show. We're going to wrap it up. Nothing more I can say than Michigan deserved to win. They were the better team today. They destroyed Ohio State on both lines of scrimmage. That's where this game was won and lost. It wasn't even close. They were the more physical team. They wanted it more, and they won by 2 touchdowns. You can't, question, it was a close game, Roadman. The score doesn't indicate. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. When you score 2 field goals, when you should be scoring touchdowns, and I hate to say I told you so, Penn State, Nebraska, that it could come back to haunt you later if your red zone efficiency doesn't improve and isn't consistent, but I told you so. And on Twitter, people questioning me about, red zone. Roadman, look at the next 2 games after that. Well, yeah, but they didn't play quality defenses. Red zone efficiency, self-inflicted wounds with the penalties, play calling, physicality, all contributed to this loss today by the Ohio State Buckeyes to Michigan. Let's check if we got any more comments or shout-outs we need to give before we get out of here. Nothing on that end. Let's go here to our comments section. And where's my mouse at on my laptop here? Comments. Adam Cerny, one last comment. Hey, Kenny and Pookie, is Gary Combs back for defensive coordinator next year at Ohio State? A lot of questions about defensive guys coming back after what they gave up to Alabama last year, Oregon this year, Michigan this year, the biggest games. The 3 biggest games for Ohio State this year, I guess 3 out of 4, right? Because Michigan State was a top 10 team as well. But 3 out of 4, the defense sucked. Oregon, Alabama last year, and Michigan this year. Defense needs to be fixed for Ohio State. Offense, they'll have the skill guys all back. You've got your quarterback back, C.J. Stroud, or I don't know, does somebody beat him out? You got a heck of a quarterback room. You're loaded at wide receiver even after losing Garrett Wilson and Olave to the draft this year. Running backs, you're loaded. O-line's got to get better on offense, much better, and the D-line's got to get better. And the linebacking play has been atrocious for multiple years now for Ohio State. So something's got to change defensively for this Buckeyes team if they're going to be national champions next year or in the near future. All right, thanks to Bob Kalfas and R.A. Kalfas Construction. By all means, if you need some work done, okay, if you're looking to add a man cave, you want to put a deck on the back of your house, you need steps up to your deck, you want to build from scratch, R.A. Kalfas Construction, simply the best in the business. Bob Kalfas and his family, and it's family run and operated. They do an unbelievable job. They've been doing it for over 35 years. So give R.A. Kalfas Construction a call. You can see it up there on the top of the screen, 238-5498. Give Bob a call. Tell him the Roadman sent you. You watch the post-game show. That's where you heard about them. They will build you a house from scratch. They'll put that man cave in the way you want it. So next year you can watch Ohio State beat Michigan in your man cave in Columbus, right? Or the deck or whatever you need added on, a room added on to your home. R.A. Kalfas Construction is definitely the place to go. And that'll do it for this edition of the R.A. Kalfas Construction Buckeyes postgame show. Again, the Buckeyes a loser for the first time in 10 years to Michigan. Final score 42-27. We'll be talking more about this on the Kenny and JT show Monday from 3 to 6 on 1480 WHBC Radio. Make sure you join us there. And don't forget to look for tomorrow's Browns postgame show after the game with the Baltimore Ravens late tomorrow night on national TV. All right, folks. Haven't had this feeling in quite some time with the Buckeyes against that team up north. But maybe it serves as some humble pie and makes the Buckeyes work out harder in the offseason and makes that coaching staff take a look at that defensive coaching staff and the defensive players they have in order to get back to being a legitimate national championship contender. All right, Michigan a winner today, 42-27 over Ohio State. As always, though, go Bucks. See you.